Vatican City is the smallest country in the world in terms of population and land area. It's so small that the borders fit in a certain Dutch building. It is also the headquarters of the Catholic Church and the Pope. It's also the only country that is a theocratic absolute elective monarchy that is non-hereditary, which technically makes the Pope a king. And just like any country, the Vatican has a government creating its own laws, enforced by its own police force, prints its own money and stamps, issues passports and license plates, has a media outlet, and most of all, has its own flag. But why and how did Vatican City turn into a sovereign state with the Pope as the head? To begin with, the origin of the name Vatican came from the Latin name Ager Vaticanus, a marshy area on the west bank of the Tiber River just across Rome. At some point, the Romans got a hold of the area. When a huge fire ravaged Rome in 64 AD, Emperor Nero decided to blame the Christians who were unpopular at the time. Many have died, and among them was probably Saint Peter. Time skip to the 4th century, Christianity was now accepted in the Roman Empire. Emperor Constantine then began the construction of the original St. Peter's Basilica on top of what might have been Peter's burial ground. Approximately 400 years later, the Roman Empire has fallen, and the Papacy was controlled by different kingdoms or empires, from Franks to Byzantines to Ostrogoths, and a whole bunch of others. The influence of the Pope, however, grew over the centuries even though it was under the rule of other realms. In 756, the donation of Pepin served as the legal basis for the creation of the Papal States, which would give the Pope more temporal power. Throughout the Middle Ages, the Pope crowned kings, cementing his influence in the Catholic world being above them. The Pope and the Papal States managed to withstand the test of time until the 18th century. Then, Napoleon came along. In 1796, he and his army invaded Italy and seized the northern region of the Papal States, which resulted into a client state called the Cisalpine Republic. 12 years later, Napoleon invaded the Papal States again and annexed the remaining regions to France. With Napoleon's defeat in 1814, the Congress of Vienna returned all annexed papal territories, except Avignon and Corsica. However, during the Napoleonic Wars, Italian nationalism grew, and the sentiment of unification was a big thing. The Kingdom of Italy, with some Prussian help, was able to annex Austrian-held territories in the north of the Papal States. In 1870, the Prussians, along with the German states, went to war with France. That war caused the French garrison in Rome to leave, which was the perfect opportunity for the Kingdom of Italy to annex the city. On September 20, 1870, Italian troops breached the Aurelian Walls at Porta Pia and entered Rome. By that time, the Papal States was completely annexed. The Pope declared himself a prisoner of the Vatican as he refused to leave beyond the walls. Relations between the Vatican and the newly found Kingdom of Italy started off as sour. Sometime later, the Pope was given a guarantee to be given similar honors just like the king, but he will only be a subject of the Kingdom of Italy. The Pope rejected this since it would appear that a state controls the Catholic Church. As a result, the King of Italy was excommunicated. Up until 1929, the sour status quo remained the same, until Mussolini decided to strike a win-win deal, also known as the Lateran Treaty, just to end a feud he's getting sick of. The treaty, in a nutshell, would be like this. On Italy's part of the deal, they will give Vatican City, the tiny country, to the Holy See, which is the government of the Catholic Church, and they will also receive monetary compensation of $92 million, which is equivalent to $1 billion today. Meanwhile, all the Pope had to do was recognize that Italy exists and would stay politically neutral. Because, Mussolini would become buddies with Austrian mustache man. Through that treaty, we now get the Vatican City we know today. And even though it is tiny, its power and influence extends far beyond its borders.